Hey, what's happening, Roland? Well, today is Friday. It's not really Friday. Today is actually Sunday. Let me tell you what happened Friday. I was going to do this Friday update, and I was up on Headwaters Lake, and I was with this guy, Josh Milner, a great fisherman from North Carolina, and we were catching fish right and left. Well, the wind was blowing. Now look at the wind right now. There's no wind right here. This is finally a calm day. It's Sunday, and it's just calm and bright and sunny and warm. It's just beautiful weather. But I'm going to tell you what, Friday was a big cold front hit Florida, and it came ripping through the 30-mile-an-hour winds. I was trying to film out there on the lake. The fish were biting. Now, what did I tell you? I told you a long time ago that when the wind blows, it can be a good thing. Because when the wind blows, it creates current, and that's what we found. I went out with Josh, and we had some topwater plugs early, and we had some spinner baits early, and we caught a few smaller fish. But then we went to the shiner, and we got into some narrow little places where the water was kind of going through. Current was kind of pushing, the wind was pushing the current through. Bam, bam, bam. Caught a bunch of 4 and 5 and 6 pound bass. Well, then yesterday, which was Saturday, I said we're going to do this What's Happening Roland thing. We're going to do a day late because it's always on a Friday. And all of a sudden, the wind is now blowing even worse yesterday than it was the day before. It was absolutely just a tremendously windy day. I couldn't film. In fact, I did film. I got out there and the sound was hitting the microphones, and it was just going crazy. It just didn't work out. So I'm doing it today, and I'm telling you what happened. But yesterday, what happened? The bite was even better because what happened? The wind blew a lot of hyacinths into some of the places on the north wind was blowing into the south shoreline. So it packed up some hyacinths, and that was a good pattern. We'd put the floats right up against the hyacinths, and also some free line, and free line them right underneath the hyacinths into some of these deeper places along the canals and deeper holes. Bam, 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 5, 6 pound bass, and a whole bunch of them. In fact, Josh, he's an accomplished fisherman. He's caught a bunch of bass in the 6 and 7 pound class, but he'd never had a day like yesterday where he catches 10 bass in the 5 pound class. That was the best day for just good sized bass that he'd ever had, so he was really, really happy with it. Well, anyway, that's what's happening. And another thing, shiners are kind of hard to get, and I throw a big cast net, you know that. And the day before, I'd gone out and chummed up 3 or 4 different places, and I didn't find the shiners very good. And I only had a few shiners where we were really skippy with it. We didn't have enough bait. So yesterday, I said to Josh, I said, listen, I think I can find a better place. I'm going to find some good clear water, kind of out of the wind, nice hydrilla, and I'll chum it up. And I chummed up my spot with my hog meal. I took my big 10-foot net over my shoulder, made one cast, hit over 100 shiners, and we were set for the day. And boy, we lit them up. We really had a big deal. Well, right now, I'm on my way to Georgia. Well, not Georgia. I'm actually in northern Florida. The deer season came in. I'm a deer hunter. I'm a rifle shooter. I like long distance shooting. I like precision shooting. I like bench rest shooting, and it comes from all the experience I had in the military. Okay, let me just show you just what I got here. Okay, in the back of my car, I have some stuff I just want to show you real quick. This is my pride and joy. Some of my pride and joy stuff. You know, now let me just tell you a little bit about my background. In the 60s, I went through college. I graduated from college, and I volunteered for the draft. I volunteered to go into the military. Well, when I got into the military, it was in the early 60s. It was just before the Vietnam War, or just at the front end of the Vietnam War. I had a boat at Fort Jackson, and I'd gone out and fished at Santee Cooper, and I caught this big 11-pound bass, this big giant bass. And I put pictures of it in the paper. Private Martin catches this big bass. And the colonel, the second guy in command of the whole post, had seen the picture, and he came to out on the base one day, and he was trying to figure out who this guy was that caught this big bass. So he finally tracked me down. He said, Private Martin, are you the guy that caught the big bass at Santee Cooper? And I said, yes, sir. Caught this big 11-pound bass. I catch a lot of big bass there. He says, can you take me fishing? Now, this was a really big deal because I said, sure, I can take you fishing, and, that'd be great. Well, anyway, on one of the many fishing trips, we got out there, and he asked me, he says, have you ever thought about trying to get a commission in the military? And I said, well, sir, through the state school at ROTC program at the University of Maryland, I had 2 years of ROTC. So I had some military background from that standpoint. And I said, well, yes, Colonel, I thought about maybe becoming an officer. That would be kind of cool. He says, well, listen, I'm ahead of the review board. This is on a fishing trip. We caught a bunch of bass. He said, I'm ahead of the review board, and I'd like to have you come in and talk to some of the other officers and would see if you're a good candidate for going to the officer candidate school at Fort Benning, becoming an infantry officer, maybe go to Vietnam or do something like that. Okay. Well, in the meantime, I had set a record at Fort Jackson with the train fire range. In other words, the regular rifle range, I'd set a record, or tied the record. And so that was a big accomplishment in itself. So I really like to shoot rifles. I've done a lot of squirrel hunting and done a lot of target shooting, even some bench rest shooting when I was in college. So anyway, I went off to Fort Benning. He said, okay, he recommended me to go to infantry officer school, OCS. Okay. So I went on to Benning, got my commission. I was ready to go to Vietnam. And all of a sudden, the colonel puts in some kind of order. I don't know what kind of order he got, and I don't know how to do it. He got me back on Fort Jackson. And I'll go into his office, and I report to him. I say, yes, sir, Colonel. And he's my fishing buddy now. And he said, Martin, he said, Lieutenant Martin, he says, glad to have you back on the post. He said, I'm going to have you run a rifle range. Oh, and also in OCS, when I went to Benning, I also set a record there in rifle training and rifle marksmanship. So I was a good rifle shot. Okay. He said, I'd like to have you run one of my rifle ranges. But here is the deal. Every single Friday, he would come down and he would tell the major, it was my commanding officer, he said, Major Smith, I'm going to take Lieutenant Martin. We got some things to do. Well, we'd go fishing. Every single Friday afternoon, we'd go fishing. Well, anyway, I became very, very proficient in shooting. And I've done a lot of long-range shooting and bench rest shooting. And so right now, I'm into really big stuff. Like, for example, I reload. I get cases of ammo. Like here's a 243 case, for example, and that's the standard case. I fire format. In other words, I shoot it in the gun first, and then what I do is I reload it to these specifications. I put this special. In this case, it's a nozzle bullet. It's a 95 grain ballistic tip. I put the RL 22, 41 grains of powder. I put this special primer, and I have a chronograph. A chronograph measures the speed of a bullet. And then there's programs on the internet and on your phone, like bullet drop programs. They'll tell you with the weight of the bullet, the ballistic coefficient of the bullet, it has how efficient it is, and the speed of the bullet. All these things are factored in to give you the exact trajectory. And so now I can take this rifle, and on this rifle, I have the exact trajectory on this stock. For example, 50 yards is 0.1 inch low. 100 yards is 1 inch high. At 200 yards, it's zero. It's zeroed in at 200 yards. At 250, it's minus 2.4 inches. 300 yards, 6 and 4, 18. Anyway, so what I have here, this isn't just a standard rifle. This is a bull barrel. This is a match grade rifle. This is what you call a bench rest rifle. Real heavy. It's about 10 pounds. It's a real thick, heavy barrel. See how heavy that is? That's in a 243. And also with this is special. I have these things built. And this is a special receiver. And this is actually what it is, it's a pre-64 Winchester receiver. Pre-64. That was before they started doing the CNC stuff. So in other words, CNC is they have a mass producing stuff. But in this case, this is all handmade, hand machined rifle. Okay, and it's a pre-64 rifle. Several rifles are like that. So what I do, and I match that up with this beautiful, beautiful Night Force scope, and this is several $1,000 scope, by the way, and it's really accurate. It has all sorts of accuracy there. So what this does, this is such an accurate system. It allows me to now shoot 3 bullets at 100 yards that touch each other. That's how deadly accurate it is. It's actually touching each other. These bullets are just so touching each other. Now I also have a bigger round. That's a 243 that's good out to about 300 yards. Here's a 300 H&H. There's another rifle I have, and it's set up a little different. It's a custom rifle, and this custom rifle it's again a pre-64 Winchester action, and again I have on the stock, I have all the bullet drop, 50 yards, 100 yards, 9 inches, 250 yards, 8 inches. Anyway, it has all the trajectories written down here, and also has a nice, a really good Smith and Bender, really high quality scope. So anyway, this is again a custom rifle. It's a custom rifle, but what it has, it enhances by reloading like this. I get extreme accuracy. When I go deer hunting, guess what? I see him at 200 yards. I don't shoot him in the body. I don't want to mess up the meat. Shoot him in the neck. I shoot him in a kill spot. I can hit a spot that big on any spot on that deer I want. Just a little bitty spot. So that's the kind of shooting I do. I do bench rest quality shooting when I go deer hunting, and I get more meat out of the deal that way. that's kind of what I'm going to do now. But anyway, that's kind of the upgrade for the week. Rifle season just came in this last week in Florida, and I hope to get some nice meat in the freezer. And I'll be back on Headwaters next week. I have several big guide trips. The shiners are doing great. The 5 and 6 and 8 pound bass are biting like crazy. Hey, come on down to Florida. You're going to have a great time. Hey, thanks for watching. And listen, I really appreciate hitting that likes button if you would. I really appreciate all your effort and all your support along the way. O'Reilly does, and my people at Bass Pro Shop. All these are great sponsors as well. Okay, see you again soon. Thanks for watching.